A pleasant day to all the members of the evaluation committee. The title of my concept paper is Magic Realism in Contemporary Philippine Fiction. Magic realism is a literary genre or style associated especially with Latin America that incorporates fantastic or mythical elements into the otherwise realistic fiction. The Cuban writer Alejo Carpentier and the Guatemalan writer Miguel Angel Asturias found in magic realism the perfect literary expression of Latin American traditions and contributed to the theorization of this mode. According to Paris, the focalization, the perspective from which the events are presented, is indeterminate. The kinds of perceptions it presents are indefinable, and the origins of these perceptions are unlocatable. That indeterminacy results from the fact that magic realism includes two conflicting kinds of perception that perceive two different kinds of events: the magical events and images not empirically verifiable, and the verifiable ones. Thus, magic realism modifies the conventions of realism based on empirical evidence, incorporating other kinds of perceptions. Due to the open space created by defocalization, several voices that were once suppressed have come out in the open, and the category of truth has been brought into question. The category of the real broken down or overturned, and the boundaries of the categories become vulnerable. According to Bowers, the characteristic of magic realism which makes it a frequently adopted narrative is its inherent transgressive and subversive qualities. It is this feature that has led many post-colonial, feminist, and cross-cultural writers to embrace it as a means of expressing their ideas. According to Bowers, to suggest that magical realist writing can be found only in one location or particular locations would be misleading. It is, after all, a narrative mode or a way of thinking in its most expansive form, and these concepts cannot be kept in geographic location. However, it is true to say that certain countries and locations have become associated with producing magic realist writing. Moreover, the plurality of worlds or locations resulted to the existence of variants of magic realism. Jean Delberry Garant mentioned 5 categories as variations of magic realism. They are the Gothic, the mythic, the experimental, and the psychic. And the last is the grotesque. The Gothic uses the supernatural to build suspense and create special effects among the reader. The mythic uses magic images that are borrowed from the physical environment itself. The experimental, on the other hand, emphasizes innovation, especially in techniques such as metafiction. In psychic, the magic images are projected from the character's own psyche, while the grotesque, according to Delberry Garant, is a combination of North American tall tale, Latin American Baroque, and Bactrian carnivalesque. Meanwhile, William Spindler mentioned 3 types of magic realism: the metaphysical, the anthropological, and the ontological. The metaphysical has magic that is understood in the sense of conjuring and producing surprising effects by the arrangement of natural objects by means of tricks, devices, or optical illusion. In anthropological, magic is taken in the anthropological sense of a process used to influence the course of events by bringing into operation secret principles of nature. In ontological, magic refers to inexplicable or fantastic occurrences which contradict the laws of nature or the laws of the natural world. No explanations are given for the unreal events in the text. According to Philippine literary scholars, Philippine magic realism actually predates the Latin American boom with the publication of Nick Joaquin's May the Eve in 1947. After several decades that saw the Filipinos venturing in the magic realistic mode, a sufficient output of Filipino writings in this imaginative form has been produced. With this output, several questions related to its form and development and its Filipinization have also surfaced. There is a need, therefore, to study these writings and find out whether they share a common characteristic among themselves that may lead to a general description of Filipino magic realism that sets them apart from the more popular Latin American magic realism. This study aims to analyze contemporary works of fiction written by representative Filipino writers that use magic realism in order to determine whether Philippine magic realism has a distinct quality of its own. Specifically, this aims to shed light on the following questions. What are the magical fantastic elements or irreducible elements of magic used in its work of fiction? Number 2. Which category or variation of magic realism does its chosen work belong to? Number 3. Does the defocalization of each narrative bring out a particular transgressive or subversive underpinning? Number 4. Are there commonalities among the chosen works in terms of fantastic elements presented, motive, theme, setting, narrative point of view, and perspective? Number 5. Do men and women writers differ in their works in terms of fantastic elements used and perspective? This study will use the works of Filipino writers of magic realism that span several decades starting with Nick Joaquin. Thus, aside from Joaquin's, this study intends to analyze the works of Wilfredo Noliedo or Alfred Yuson, Dean Alfar, Merlinda Bobes, Rosario Cruz, and Robin Lim. The method to be used in this study is thematic analysis, which Braun and Clark introduced as a method for identifying, analyzing, and interpreting patterns of meaning within a qualitative data. Generally, thematic analysis as applied in the study includes 4 phases. The first is the thorough reading of the text, and the next is the codification of the text. Number 3 is the categorization of codes, and the 4 is analysis. The thorough reading of the text is done for general understanding of the text, giving close attention to codes and patterns. The codification of the text, on the other hand, uses excerpts, words, statements, situations, and incidents, which are concrete elements within the text that can be modified to give vital information relevant to the research questions. The categorization of the codes has the extracted codes which are separated and classified in terms of their similarities. And number 4, the analysis will be based on the categories, their description, function, interpretation, implication, delineating their relationship with the research questions. That ends this presentation of concept paper.